You are listening to the Atlanta Real Estate Forum radio show, all about real estate edition, shining a light on the movers and shakers in the real estate industry, the home builders, developers, realtors, and suppliers making it all happen. And now, here are today's hosts.
Good morning and welcome back to the All About Real Estate edition. I am your host, Todd Schnick, joined by my friend and colleague, Carol Morgan. Before we begin, we do want to thank New American Funding for being our 2021 show sponsor, now our 10th year on the air. It has been wonderful having New American Funding as our friend and partner. All right, Carol, neat couple of people, an organization having a great year. It's going to be a good conversation.
Yeah, we are going to hear from some realtors, some grassroots examples of what is going on out there. 'Cause I know that all of our listeners really want to know because it has just been crazy and all the news stories and, we've got even new home builders now going to highest and best offer. So it's crazy out there. So we're joined in studio today by Nick Lamonte and Louise Morgan. They are both realtors with Harry Norman Buckhead. So welcome. We're very happy to have you here on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Louise, you want to give us a kind of that 30,000-foot overview of Harry Norman Realtors?
Sure. So Harry Norman was established in 1930 and was actually the first residential real estate firm in Atlanta. So it's known as the original real estate firm. And its vision is to provide just an exceptional experience for every client. We are a full service firm, meaning we offer the entire package from start to finish of the transaction. So we take care of everything for you. As a full service firm, we offer 18 sales offices throughout Georgia. We're part of the Buckhead office, international specialists, a relocation division, marketing, public relations, mortgage services, home insurance services, title services, you name it. The list goes on. And it's actually a really special place for me because my mother's been a realtor with Harry Norman for almost 30 years. So I've kind of grown up in the office and I've seen Harry Norman expand over the years. And it's just, I'm always amazed at how innovative and ahead of the curve Harry Norman is. So it's a fun and exciting place to be, especially right now.
Yeah, especially right now. And I was thinking, boy, if I'm going to be a part of this booming market, it'd be fun to be playing in the Buckhead sandbox right now. That's what a neat place. That must be a lot happening right now. In fact, Nick, Carol kind of let us off with kind of the state of the market. But what are you seeing? How's the market looking where you are?
Yeah, the market's been, as everybody can tell through the news and just kind of driving around, you could tell it's just been pretty hectic. I think it's a market that we've never seen before as a realtor personally, and I think as buyers and sellers as well. We've kind of had a perfect storm in the past 2 years of, COVID hitting with the pandemic, and then you've got a low interest rate situation, and then you've got, lower inventory coming in the beginning of 2021. That's just created kind of this perfect storm, like I said, of just a crazy, hectic market. It's been exciting to go through. I would say there's definitely some ups and downs for the emotions of a realtor and the clients as well. But we're definitely learning how to navigate through waters we've never been through before, which is, it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah, crazy times out there. Well, talk about best practices for navigating the current market. Louise, what are you doing differently?
So I always say to my clients, be prepared and proactive. Get all of your ducks in a row before you actually start looking for a home. So what does that mean? Basically, obviously start working with the right realtor, but also the right mortgage consultant. Get all your financing in order. Go ahead and get pre-approved. Get all your questions answered beforehand. You should be working with a realtor who's going to guide you and help you navigate the process. So the Atlanta market's always been competitive, but it's next level competitive right now. So there's just no time to get your ducks in a row when you're actually looking. And you should be working with the right people who are going to help you and guide you throughout the process. And communication is key. We've all heard that before. It's kind of old school. All my tips are old school, but I think they've gotten easy things have gotten lost in the crazy busy world we live in. But communicate, over communicate. I try to over communicate with my clients. It's important if you are a realtor to communicate with co-op agents. So we've heard it before. It's really simple, but communication is key.
You know, I love this idea of over communicate. You know what they say about communication. The biggest problem with communication is the mistaken belief that it actually happened. is the belief that you actually did communicate what you need to, and you probably didn't. So you may think you're over communicating, but to the recipient, you're probably not, and they're probably getting good information. So that's a great tip. Nick, what about you? Any best practices that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of just picking up the phone. So especially in this market as well, we've got a lot of realtors and clients that want to go through email or text message. And I think a lot of stuff can get mixed up when that kind of stuff happens. There's not a lot of clarity in that sense. So what I always say is pick up the phone, understand what you're looking for with the questions and the answers. And like you said, there's not a lot of room for mistakes when it comes to understanding what the communication, when it comes to picking up the phone. Again, like Louise said, it's an old fashioned, I guess, way of life, especially now. But, it's a good tactic to use, I think, in the sense of just being able to get the answers and getting them with clarity in a time that there's not a lot of that.
Right.
It also helps you build relationships more and build rapport. You can get lost in translation and text by tone and stuff. So it can help. Honestly, it makes a difference between winning a deal and not winning a deal for your client if you pick up the phone and talk to the other agent.
Yeah. Well, especially since everything seems to be moving so fast. You know, hearing about people who put their houses on the market and have, 45 offers in 24 hours, just crazy stuff. So let's talk a little bit about how the market's shifting and some of the trends you see. Moving to the exurbs. We hear that's going on. Who wants to address that?
Sure. I mean, I'll go ahead and jump into that. So when COVID hit, my clients, there's a rise in the demand for single family homes, and, especially some sort of outdoor space. And so I started working a ton in, rather just the center of Atlanta, Roswell, Alpharetta, Vinings, kind of a little bit farther out. People can go out and get a little bit more space at a more affordable price as opposed to being in the center of Buckhead. So for me, really once COVID hit, I've seen people wanting a single family home. Even if they do want a condo and a high-rise building or townhome, they need some sort of outdoor space. But it really comes down to that outdoor living space. And a lot of people have been going out to find that.
Yeah, I live on the 58th floor. So I'm one of those high-rise kind of guys, but I think the trend definitely is getting out a bit. And, Nick, I'd love for you to comment more on this, this idea of, all right, well, more of us are now working and building our life around the home. I mean, that's obviously has to be a key trend that you guys are following. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and for me, especially, so I grew up in the north suburbs of Atlanta where I was in Roswell, Alpharetta, Cumming area. And, a lot of people, when I first started in the business, wanted to be within the city, close to work, close to where they are and where they live their lives. And recently, in the past 2 years, you've seen a lot of people going to the suburbs and to the lake and, even to secondary homes on the beach, because now either you're permanently at home or you're going to basically to the office 2 to 3 times a week. So you don't have to deal with the traffic that we used to have to deal with. Or, like Louise said, you're building the life around you at the house, which you need more space for. You need the outdoor area, you need the gym, you need the office space for things like this. And so a lot of people are realizing that even if they thought they had enough space, they don't when you're living most of your life from home. And, I think we're eventually going to see a time where that does change to where it's not as permanent and full-time. But even so, when you think about half your time being at home and half your time being at an actual office, people are really wanting to get out a little bit further where they can just kind of have that open space and be able to feel like they're able to breathe, especially, throwing in the fact that you're at home with your whole entire family all the time. It's not the easiest to not have enough space. So that's definitely what we're seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you kind of touched on a couple of different things there. You touched about working from home and you talked about second homes a little bit too. People are going out and buying lake homes and mountain homes. And Louise, you want to comment on that and what you're seeing?
Sure. I mean, I've noticed a lot of people, even some of my husband's colleagues who they have an office in Buckhead, but some of them are moving out of state and people are just like, well, we spend most of our time in the mountains now. And I can work from home. So I think it's a really interesting dynamic. There's a shift with, it totally coincides with working from home. But if you have the ability now to work from home, then that opens up your possibility, with your family and where you can live. So a lot of people, like whether it's a lake home, a beach house, a lot of people just are not spending their time in the city. And even if you are, back to commenting on the working from home, I've seen a lot of people get really creative, and it's about kind of optimizing the space you have and creating multifunctional spaces. So even if you are in a small space, people are creating, home offices. I have a client who bought a small condo, but she didn't have a work from home space, and she does work from home. So she turned a makeup vanity into this home office, and she put a lot of work into it, and it looks really, really cool. So people are getting really creative, and they're also deciding, hey, I don't actually have to be in my office. So I don't have to stay put here. I can be somewhere else with my family.
Yeah. It's a huge trend. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The thing is, look, as we're sliding back into what we would now call some sense of normalcy, whether you go back to the office full time or you stay working at home full time, or more likely some hybrid of that, the fact is you're thinking differently about your home experience now, and you have a different, now it's not just a place where you get ready to go to work. You live life there now, and we're thinking very differently about that, and no matter how it shakes down and where you actually work. So it's going to be interesting to see how this continues to evolve over the next 12 to 18 months. Back to this crazy market and how just surreal it is. And I saw, as we record this, I saw an article, I think it was a week ago, where some entity said we need 5 million more homes to kind of deal with this inventory issue that we're dealing with right now. It is a crazy time to be entering this market. I'd love for both of you to comment on some advice you have for buyers who are just entering this market, whether they're first-time buyers or seasoned buyers. Nick, I'll ask you to lead off on advice and how to kind of dive into this current marketplace.
Yeah, I would definitely say that we're looking at a time, like I said, that we've never seen before. We're navigating waters that we've not been in. And I think for a first-time home buyer or for a seasoned buyer, as you said, I think patience right now is key in finding what you're looking for. I think, obviously everybody wants that dream home. They want to have their particulars and what they want in that home. And they're realizing that there's not as much out there as they would like, but there's still homes that are very feasible for them to go out and see and be able to get. I would also say that going out and seeing the product right now is very important. A lot of people are trying to move very quickly, and they're not seeing the home. They're not trying to walk through the home, get that real feeling of walking through the threshold and understanding what it'll be like for them and their family. And I think that's a big piece that people are trying to avoid with just getting in quickly, getting the offer in, waiving everything they want to waive, and being able to get into something that they have to get into. And that's the other piece right now, is that people are looking at a situation where they are a little bit freaked out because they're selling their home and they have to be out of that home within a certain amount of days, and they have to find a place to live. And for first-time home buyers, it's very stressful. And I think for a lot of the realtors that are out there right now helping first-time home buyers, there's a lot of patience that comes from our side as well, because you have to express to them what to expect and how to go about a market that isn't normally the way it is. And it's not really geared toward a first-time home buyer. It's tough right now to, pull money out of the air and waive contingencies out of, a contract and put yourself in those positions that are not very comfortable to get a home that you're needing. So it's definitely tough, but I would say patience is definitely key, and just adapting and adjusting to the everyday, because every day is different. Like you say, you read or see an article today that, in a week it might be different. And that's what we're having to learn as realtors. And I think a lot of our clients are as well, is that every day in this market is different, which is crazy. It's exciting, but it's crazy, and you have to adapt to be able to get what you need. So.
Absolutely. Well, Louise, what do you have to add to that? And I guess, will you also talk a little bit about contingencies? I kind of assume that having a contingency that you need to sell your house right now is kind of a kiss of death.
Yes. Well, just to piggyback off of what Nick said about, patience, I always say, keep the faith. It always works out as it should. It really, really does. I see it time and time again. So, but, low inventory, high buyer demand equals multiple offer situations. So It's definitely can be intimidating, but like I said before, there are things you can do to make sure you're in the best position. It's, when it's go time. So like I said, just be prepared and proactive. That really falls on your realtor and your mortgage consultant to set you up for success and to guide you and educate you before you start looking. So it's really important to work with the right people in this market and people that you trust. So they can help you. And there are definitely things that they can do. You can be creative with your offers, kind of talking about the contingency piece. A mortgage consultant, if you're working with the right person and their company can be competitive and creative, can really, I've won deals where the price is not the highest, but the timelines and the other terms are. And that all comes down to really the mortgage company. So it's really a team effort. And I think a lot of people may think it all just comes down to price and stuff. But there are ways to be creative with your contingencies, whether that's, removing it or doing it in a shorter period of time, or honestly going the extra mile with communication and having everyone in the whole group, having your mortgage consultant communicate with the listing agent. Like, there are ways of presenting the best, strongest, most competitive offer. Now, contingencies, for you to write an offer on something that's contingent upon your selling your own home, that's really tricky right now. It's not impossible. It can be done, but that's where those extra levels of detail come into play, like the communication, building rapport. I mean, everything else, all other terms need to be great, but it can be done. It just, like I said, it's all old school stuff. It's not rocket science. It's just kind of prepare, be proactive, work with the right people who can deliver and be competitive and help you navigate the process.
New American Funding is committed to delivering home loans on time while providing 5-star service. Their 14 business day close guarantee and fully underwritten pre-approval gives you an unbeatable 1-2 punch impossible for sellers to ignore. For more information on New American Funding, call 678-898-3540. That's 678-898-3540.
It is an intriguing time to be a seller. We're in the midst of selling my father-in-law's house, and we listed it and had our first offer within 24 hours, which was just surreal to us, especially with the state of this house and where it's located. It was rather surprising. Any comments on advice for sellers right now?
I was just going to say, the same thing applies, being prepared and proactive. Go ahead and get a pre-listing inspection done. That way you can kind of knock out some inspection items that might come up so you're not stuck in the due diligence period. But your realtor may have tips for you that, looking at your home before it goes on the market, hey, you might want to do this. Here's some things you could do. Listen to them. Don't get your feelings hurt. Like, if they tell you to listen to them, because they've seen it time and time again, what works and what doesn't. And it may be the difference between selling in a day versus 30 days. So just, again, work with someone you trust and take their advice into consideration.
Yeah. I think that's great advice. I think there are people out there that think you can list and sell anything right now, but it's not necessarily true. There's still some dogs out there. They're going to take a while to sell, right? Nick, anything to add on advice for home sellers?
No, I think she nailed it. I think it's just about being able to take that critical advice when you start out, because you don't want to have a listing that stands on the market for, in this market, it sounds
for more than 2 weeks.
More than 2 weeks. Exactly right. And, what I always tell my sellers is that a lot of buyers are coming in right now and they understand a little bit of clutter. They understand the office and the dining room. They understand the different things that are there that normally aren't. And what I always tell my sellers in this market, especially, is just focus on the essentials, right? What are you looking for when you go into a home? Don't worry about the closet. Don't worry about this and that, because you're not focusing on those things when you walk into the home. And that's not what you're looking for and what other people are looking for. So I always say focus on the essentials. Make sure that things that, like Louise said, are standouts are focused on, but don't worry about the little things in this market, because right now, those little things aren't as important as they used to be with the times that we're in. And you don't want to put any more pressure on yourself when you're about to sell a home, because you're already going to have to buy a home, and it's going to be even more stressful if you try to focus on selling the home when we're in a market right now where you can sell your home a little bit easier than you used to, but the buying is now the very difficult piece. like we've been speaking on. So focus on the essentials and don't focus so much on those little things that, you may have in the past. But I mean, Louise really nailed it as well with the pre-inspection. I love that idea. And it kind of allows everybody to kind of wade through all the stuff that doesn't matter, which is good.
Yeah. You may think, well, I don't want to uncover anything that I don't want to have to fix, but it's the wise move, because chances are it's going to get snagged and you got to deal with it. You might as well be proactive on it and eliminate that barrier. That is actually good advice. Well, guys, this has been a great conversation. It is a complicated exciting market, but a complicated one. And boy, you might think it goes without saying, but you got to be smart about the realtor that you work with, because there are a lot of realtors out there, and not all of them are perfect. And when it comes down to it, trust them. And you got to take their advice. They know what they're doing. They've seen it day after day after day. So all good stuff. All right. Well, guys, sadly, we're about out of time. So before we let you go, Louise, I'll ask you to do this. Should anyone need to ask you guys any questions and learn more about what's happening at Harry Norman Realtors Buckhead, where do they go?
Well, you can always go to social media is a great place to go. I know Nick and I are both very, very active on social media. So we each have our own page, but also the Harry Norman social media page. There's always something happening, whether it's live interviews, weekly real estate buzz, kind of the weekly happenings in real estate that are really, really awesome to follow. So the Harry Norman Instagram is great, their Facebook, and obviously their website. And Nick and I both have, our website as well. So you can find that just through going to harrynorman.com.
Got it. Nick Lamonte and Louise Morgan, both realtors with Harry Norman Realtors Buckhead. Guys, it was great to have you. Thanks so much for carving out some time to join us, and good luck navigating through this crazy, crazy market.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, that wraps this week's All About Real Estate edition. Again, on behalf of our show sponsor, New American Funding, my co-host, Carol Morgan, I am Todd Schnick. That is all the time that we have for today. Thank you for tuning in and listening, and we look forward to seeing you again right here tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio is made possible by Denim Marketing, the publisher of Atlanta Real Estate Forum, Atlanta's favorite source for real estate and home building news. Denim Marketing is a comfortable fit, like your favorite pair of jeans. Denim Marketing tailors marketing strategies to meet your specific needs and niche. Try them on for size. They will work to create a perfect fit for your company's marketing program. Call them at 770-383-3360 or send an email to info@denimmarketing.com. For more information on Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio or to inquire about being a guest, contact info@atlantarealestateforum.com. Check out the radio show by visiting atlantarealestateforum.com or by listening to the show on your favorite podcast app. And if you enjoyed today's broadcast, we'd sure appreciate a rating and review on iTunes. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time on Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio.